Hey guys, what's going on? In this video I'm going to show you how I created this animation with Houdini and rendered it in Unreal Engine. I'm going to start by showing how I made the animation in Houdini. Then I'm going to go over how I exported the animation from Houdini and imported it into Unreal Engine, plus how I debugged a material ID issue I faced. After that I'm going to work in Unreal Engine. Create the scene, add lighting, create the materials, work with the sequencer, and finally set up the final render. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it and show you how I've done it. So here we are inside Houdini. I've created this effect with my name on it, and if I play it, here it is, Hodge. So I'm gonna go over how I built this. I built this based on a tutorial on Entagma channel. I imported a 3D model and rescaled it and gave it fed it into the volume grain and then volume solver, and use the time shift to isolate a frame and UV texture it, and using a point warp I added the I added the volume solver and the UV texture together, and then added a attribute from matte, which the Hodge texture was added in this stage. Then I so from until this part, these are only points, and Unreal can't understand points. We have to make it into mesh. So I added a copy to points node and copied a sphere on each point, and then I exported an alembic, which you can see here. So let's import this alembic into Unreal Engine. So here I am in Unreal Engine. If you want to learn how to work with Unreal Engine, I have a playlist. There are several short videos, short beginner Unreal Engine videos. You can start with them. So I made a alembic folder, and then let's drag and drop the alembic I created in here. So when I drag it into the content browser, alembic cache import window opens. First of all, I should change the import type to geometry cache, and then check the start and end frame. Then I will go to the scale options. Here I put the scale to 100, -100 and 100, and the rotation in the x axis to 90 degrees. Then press import and wait for the alembic to import. So after a few minutes, the alembic file is imported. Let me just save it and open a new level, a basic level, and I don't want to save this one. Okay, let's drag and drop the alembic file into the level, and it seems to be okay. Let's to check the animation, I will press play, and as you can see, the animation has been imported correctly. So let's press escape. But when I select the geometry, there is a problem with it. There is only one material element on it, but we need two, one for the black ones and one for the yellowish hodge. So in the next part I want to go back to Houdini and add the material IDs to the mesh. So here I am again inside Houdini. I should create materials for each of the colors we see here. So first of all, I go to the I add a group node after the attribute map, because I want to add the groups before copying the spheres on the points. So let's add a group node and name it material 1, and name the group name material underline ID underline 1, and set the base group. I want to set the group based on the color, so I write @cd. So I want to choose the points based on their color, and I know that the black ones are closer to 0, and the brighter ones are higher than them. So I base the group based on @cd material ID 1. I want them to be lower than 0.1, and let me copy the group and name it material ID 2, and this one I want the points that their CD is higher than 0.1. So these are my groups. And another thing, I should set the group type to points, because we have points. So after I create the point groups, I want to promote the point groups to primitive groups, because Unreal Engine recognizes the polygons, not the points. So I add a group promote node, and in here I change the convert from to points and to primitive, and the group name material ID 1 and new name material ID 1, and I will copy the group promote node and change 1 to 2. So now I have two primitive groups, and now let's give each group a material. I've already created the material in the matte context here. I've created two classic shaders and nothing special. I just named them material 1 and material 2. So let's go back to the OBJ context, and here I will add two material nodes. So the group, I want the group to be material ID 1 and the material to be material 1, and let's copy it. I want the group to be material ID 2 and the material to be material 2, and let's also add a null node here, and I will name it out. And after that I will first of all save my file and then export an alembic. So let's check the alembic. Yes, it is exported. Let's go to Unreal Engine and drag the alembic file here, and the previous import options is saved, and I just need to press import and wait for the file to be imported. So the file is imported. Let's save it and then drop it into the level, and as you can see now it has two material IDs. Let's give it two materials just to be sure, and now let's press play, and as you can see, voila, it has been correctly imported. So next I will go over how to set up a studio lighting and sequencer inside Unreal Engine. Okay, so I'm gonna start with an empty new level. From file, new level, empty level. I'm gonna start from the very beginning. First of all, I'm gonna place a plane for the base. So let's go to the shapes and drag and drop a plane. I will change the location to the origin of the world, and then scale it to, for example, 10, and let's press G and go to the unlit mode, and let's drag and drop the mesh into the level. So the base I think should be much bigger, so I put it to 100. Okay, and let's put it to the lit mode and add some light. Let's start with a rectangular light. Okay. Okay, so let's create some materials. First let's save the map. I'll go to the Hodge folder and go to the projects number 6, create a folder, name it maps, and I will name the level LVL underline 6 underline 1 because it's the first iteration. I may change the lighting or the material in the in other levels. So okay, let's create a materials folder. Okay, and let's I have some other materials. Let's go to the let's find the parent, and I have a glass material. Let's check it out. So it is set to translucent with surface forward shading, and it has all the parameters I may need, but I want to add another parameter to it, and that is thin translucent. and I will add a parameter. Okay, so now if I change the blend, change the shading model to thin translucent, I can change the parameter in the material instance. So let's save it. Okay, so it is saved. Translucent materials take some time to be saved. And now I will create a material instance and I will move it to the materials folder I created. Okay. Oh, I moved it to the wrong folder. Okay, and let's see what we have here. First, I want to change the name to mi_glass_1. Okay, and let's set the view mode to path tracing. I want to do this project with path tracing. So okay. And let's duplicate this and change its name to plastic one, because I want to set it to thin translucent. And let's set it to element 0. Okay, let's set the glass to element 0 and plastic to element 2. Okay, so first let's save all, then let's open the glass material and change the parameters. And let's see what we have here. We have base color, thin translucent, I don't want it, specular, roughness, metallic IOR, emissive intensity. I don't want it to be emissive, I want it to be glass but with roughness of 0 or with roughness of 0.1. and let's change the refraction or IOR. For example, let's put it to 1, and okay, 1 is not good. Let's set it to 1.5, and let me see. Okay, the others I don't want to change. Save, and let's change the plastic. Okay, first of all, let's create a sequence. I want to change the frame of the animation. I will create a new folder and I will name it sequence. Okay, and in here I will right click, go to animation and create a level sequence, and I will name it sequence _1. Okay, let's open it and let's add the hodge grain to the sequence, and let's click this plus track and add the geometry cache. Okay, so we have about 75 frames. Let's go to the 75th frame and click this one so the end of the animation is there. Okay, so we go to the 60th frame. Let's go closer and let's change the plastic material. Let's open it. I want to create a red thin plastic. Okay. First of all, I will give it a 0.1 opacity, and roughness I want to be also 0.1, and let's see. Okay, I will give it more opacity, like 0.8. That's much better. Okay, I just love it. Let's tweak some other settings here. For example, let's give it some emissive. Let's copy the base color, paste it on the emissive, and give it some emissive intensity, for example 1. That's too much. 0.2, that's too much. 0.05. Okay, that seems good. And I want to give the glass material a little roughness, so it's not so clear. Okay. Thin translucent. I didn't tweak this one. Let's set it to 100, 0. It seems to have no influence. Oh, I didn't change the blend mode, change the shading model. I will change it to thin translucent, and now let's see. Thin translucent it is, and it is preparing shaders. Now let's tweak this. And okay, let's put it to 0, and let's put it to, for example, 0.5 or 1. 1 is good. Okay, let's save everything and let's open the glass material. I want to give it some a little roughness. For example, let's put it to 0.4. I think that looks a little better. Or let's set it to 0.25. Okay, let's give it a little emissive intensity, like 1. Okay, and give it a little bit opacity. Okay, and now we can see the emissive. Let's give it the intensity of 100. That's not really necessary. I will put it to 1, and I think it looks good. Or not. Let's change it to, for example, 0. Okay. Or I think that's good. Let's change the plastic. Let's create another plastic material, and this time I will change it to yellow. Let me duplicate this. Okay, let's change the base color to a yellowish color and copy it and paste it on the emissive color. Okay, now let's give it to the mesh. I think this one looks a little better. So now let's create a post-process volume. I will search it. Okay, and I will set it to unbound. And change the exposure and change it to manual. 12 is, I think 12 is good. Okay, and now let's make a material for the base. I think white is good, but I want it to be a glassy white or glassy white, I don't know. So let's go to the materials folder, M color. I will create a material instance and I will move it to the materials folder and change its name to mi underline color underline 1, and let's give it to the let's give it to the base. Okay, let's open it and change the base color to white. The value of 0.8 is good, and let's change some of these parameters. For example, let's give it a roughness of, okay, the roughness is 0, but I don't see any roughness on it. Why is that? Let me check the master material. Okay, it is a very simple material. Let's change the roughness and set it to 1, 0. Let's change the specular. It should be 0.5, and that's okay. Let's check it now. Let's make it a little metallic, for example. Let's put it to 1. Okay, that's not good because there is no environment, but it kinda looks it okay. The glass material looks kinda sexy. Wow. But let's make it this much metallic, and let's tweak the roughness. Oh, roughness is good. 0.5 is good. Maybe I will change the lighting and then tweak the materials a little more. Okay, now I'm gonna work on lighting a little more because I don't like this lighting, and for that I'm gonna first duplicate the level using Ctrl D and work in this new level because I want to keep the previous materials and lighting in the first iteration. So first of all, I'm gonna open the sequencer. First let's rename the sequencer tool to sequencer underline 6 underline 1 because it's the sixth project. Okay, I'm gonna open it, and let's first right click on the Alembic file, assign actor, and assign the Alembic file to it. And let's go to 60th frame, and let's then put the end of the animation to like here because I want it to be a little longer. Okay, let's play it. Okay, that's cool. And now let's do a little bit of lighting. First I want to disable this light, so I go to the details panel and let's disable the affect wall. And now let's okay, let's go to the lighting and a directional light. I will add a directional light to the level and set the intensity to like something like 1. Okay, that seems a little better, but I want to add a little bit of atmosphere to the project too. So I'm going to go to the visual effects and add a sky atmosphere. And then let's also add a skylight and set the skylight to okay, and set the skylight to be something. Okay, I want to set it to movable and also set the directional light to movable. Let's add a exponential height fog so that the bottom half of the atmosphere is not black. Okay, let's check the lighting in path tracer mode. I mean, it looks fine, I think. Let's rotate the sun a little bit. This one I think is better. So okay, and let's change the background material and see how it looks like. I will duplicate the color and assign it to the background, and let's set the metallic to 1. Okay, it looks good. Maybe for it, but maybe for a future project. I think for this one I will go with the white color. Okay, so I will go to lit mode. Oh no, I will go back to the path tracing mode, and I want to add a camera to the project. So I will go to the cinematic tab and add a camera actor to the level, and then go to the sequencer and add it to the sequencer. Okay, so this is my cinematic camera, and let's I will change the current aperture to 22, or let's search for exposure and turn off the apply physical camera exposure, and now everything is white. Manual, let's put it to like 12, 20, 15, 16, 17, 8, half. I think that's good. 17 and a half is good. Okay, so I want to animate the camera along the animation of the Alembic file. So first I will go to the first frame, and like for example in the first frame the camera is here. Let's add a key and let's go to the 19th frame, or to the let's see what's wrong with this. Let's right click on it and okay, so I will right click on it and go to the properties and set the when finished to keep a state. And now when it's finished it doesn't go back to the beginning. Okay, so I think in the 20th frame the camera is it's good to I will put the camera to something like here. Let's set a key and let's replay it. How does it look? I think it looks good. Maybe so I want the camera to be higher in the first frame, somewhere like I want to see the motion. It doesn't seem like the camera is moving, so like here to 600, and let's set a key and go to frame 20 and set it to for example here. Like 200, and let's set a key and then let's move the camera up again in like the frame 50. For example here, so that the logo is in the center of the shot. Let's set a key and then let's replay it. let's set maybe it's better if it's in the frame number, for example 35. Let's move this key to frame number 35 and let's see how it looks like now. Let's change the animation, change the curve to linear. Okay. To linear. And now let's see how it looks like. Let's go to the beginning and I think it looks okay. And let's set it to frame 30 and see how it looks like then. Okay, now it seems like it looks even better. So I think that's enough tweaking with the sequencer. Let's change the render settings now. The lighting I think is good and the animation is good. Now the render settings. First of all, if you haven't, go to the settings and plugins and change and turn on the movie render queue plugin. Movie render queue plugin and movie render queue additional render pass. Okay. And then the engine will ask you to restart the project. Restart it and then you have the movie render queue in your sequencer. So in my sequencer, when I click on the render this movie to a video or image, the movie render queue window will open. Previously I have set up the path tracing config for the render queue. Let me show it. For the export I've set it to EXR, and for the rendering I've added a path tracer node, and I've added an anti-aliasing, and I've overridden the anti-aliasing and set it to none, and I've set the spatial sample count to 10 and the temporal sample count to 50, and the render warm-up count to 16 and engine warm-up count to 32. And for the color output I've added an OCIO config to the project, and I've added quite a bunch of console variables to the project. Okay, I will you can stop the video and copy the console variables if you like. And the output is on full HD. Okay, and now all I have to do is to press render local and the rendering will be started. But first I want to save all and then press the render, because sometimes after starting the render queue the project crashes and I don't want to lose all the work I have done. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it's been helpful. And if it was, make sure to like and subscribe down below. I'm Hoj and I create environments and renders with Unreal Engine. Thank you guys for watching and I'm gonna see you in the next one.